England desperate to survive rather than win the match, and rain in the offing. Will there be heroes come out of this last day? And if so, from which teams will they come? Well, welcome to the highlights, and just a little reminder of what was happening at the start of play as the players walked out. It was 60 for 3, England in their second innings. Gower was 24, Lamb 6, and quite a bit of batting to come. The bowling figures, well, they're listed there, being dominated again by Malcolm Marshall, who's been the outstanding bowler in the match. If they can withstand him today, then they might be in with a chance, particularly with those rain clouds around. 2 for 10 in 9 overs. And the match situation, as those two batsmen walked out today, England 189 runs behind. We join play now with the first ball. Ambrose is the bowler, taking strike the left-hander David Gower.
First ball of the morning, and runs for Gower. Flicked away nicely there. And chased by Logie. And 3 runs.
Good start to the day. Just outside the leg stump, and David Gower pushing that away firmly through mid-wicket.
Well, that takes Gower on to 27. Alan Lamb starting the day on 6. And so far, they've put on 27. Lamb also off the mark. Fielded by substitute Keith Atherton, with Gordon Greenwich not on the field at the moment. Malcolm Marshall to share the attack with Ambrose. The only thing Viv Richards had got to consider was that, having had 2 official warnings for running on the wicket from umpire Plews last night, 1 more means him out of the rest of the innings, and so Richards must have thought long and hard as to whether to open with other bowlers to see if they could make the break and not risk losing his main strike bowler. Marshall it is to Gower. Oh, straight away. Ball not bouncing, but moving.
Yes, a very gentle little loosener there. Moving away from David Gower off the pitch. But no real pace in it. Second bounce to Dujon.
Nicely flicked away. Anything around leg stump, then Gower's shown himself in control, and that's the first boundary of the morning. So David Gower taking advantage there of a rare loose Marshall delivery.
Nicely clipped away off his legs. And only 3 men on the onside.
Marshall at the top again. Just the 2 overs of spin so far from Roger Harper in the entire match. 1 from Carl Hooper. Now that is one of the out of form David Gower shots that nobody likes to see.
Yes, the old fashioned shot on the walk. Not quite. You see the back pad going across after the ball's gone by, and that's where it should have been in the first place. There.
Oh, well, one followed by another, almost inevitable, and David Gower, after looking as though he was marching down a different road, isn't. Joyous West Indies supporters there, and Gower caught for 34 and England 73 for 4.
Yes, lovely piece of bowling. You've got to give the bowler credit, but you can see how far David was away from being behind that delivery. Very, very wide indeed. No need to play it. And a disappointing end.
And Richardson will be pleased at holding one after putting one down last night. He put Martin Moxon down. One thing that was that West Indies wanted and England didn't. New batsman is David Capel, one of quite a number of England players in this match who, needless to say, are playing for their places and immediate futures.
David Williams fielding.
And here we can see this lack of foot movement. Very, very wide when he had that little flick at it.
Those are the figures for the innings. And always he takes out the top of the England order. And that's close. Gracious me, got him on the back foot.
Yes, he has this great ability to get the batsman back. And that's a very good shout.
Those 22 wickets really have simplified life for his captain, Viv Richards. Well, averaging under 10, getting a wicket under every 5 overs. Yes, there was a clear, audible second sound there. Capel stood, but there didn't seem to be any doubt in anybody's mind. And there goes David Capel. An unhappy match for him.
Yes, Capel pushing forward here, getting an inside edge onto the pad, high onto the thigh pad actually, going out on the offside, and Arthurton just running in, picking that very simple catch. Full marks to Malcolm Marshall, who'd only just moved Arthurton into that position. Inside edge, onto the thigh pad, and bouncing high in the air.
Yes, Capel never came to terms with Marshall. He was nailed on the back foot and survived a very strong LBW appeal, and obviously deciding to come forward as often as not. Did the very thing that that back pad man was there for. Now new batsman Paul Downton. In his time he's played some pretty long innings against the West Indies, if not particularly high scoring ones, but somewhere along the line, after a shot like this and a dismissal like this, Capel, you see, playing forward to a ball well short of a good length. And now England certainly need somebody to drop anchor for 2 or 3 hours. So coming all the way forward and really in no position to control or play that ball down once it had deviated back onto him. 4 out of the first 5. Well, dear me, this one going the other way, just like a leg break.
What a wonderful delivery. Fast leg break. Not too many people would have touched that one.
Well, if he's not hitting the edge of the bat, he's missing it. Every ball moves. A marvellous, marvellous over from him. 2 wickets. He's made the break yet again. Another great delivery to Downton, and comments on that over, if he's got any left, from Tom Graveney, and then to continue commentary, it'll be Richie Benno.
Well, I've been accused of being Malcolm Marshall's press agent. But I mean, you can just have a look there to see what a very great bowler he is. He's bowling at 3/4 pace this morning, just getting the ball on the seam, moving it in and away from the batsman. Terrific performance.
"23 wickets so far, and there's still a bit of time to go as well. It's the remainder of today, and one at Headingley and one at the Oval.
Yes, and his best ever performance, of course, was at Headingley in the corresponding match 4 years ago.
That's off the fingers. That's a very nasty delivery from Curtly Ambrose. Not very much the batsman could have done about that one. It lifted from not all that short. Hit Lamb on the glove and flew straight to short leg to Logie, who missed a few at Lord's but made no mistake with that one.
Yes, a really nasty delivery here. Banged in short, lifting and going off the glove, off the bottom hand. And Logie picking that one up very tidily.
It's 73 for 6 now, and it's not going too far to say that there may well be an early end to today's activities, unless the rain comes to England's assistance. We've only been playing for half an hour this morning, and suddenly from the start of 60 for 3, it's become 73 for 6. Now, this is an interesting angle, this particular shot, because Lamb got up as far as he could and was fending it down all the time. Almost did all the right things, but it was a devilish delivery. Two double-figure scores. Gower, who was dismissed this morning for 34. Capel was out for naught, and Lamb now for 9. First time Ambrose has slipped in for a wicket, but he's bowled well enough to have 3 or 4. Viv Richards has let him loose out there in this innings, and whatever he told him, it was the right thing, I can tell you. Curtly has bowled very well. It rather looks to me as though in the other matches he might have been holding back a little, trying to bowl good line, good length.
Well, again, just banged in halfway down and coming back and going through Wayside. But I was talking to Viv Richards early in the season and talking about Ambrose, and he said, comparing him with Joe Garner, when the wicket's a little bit bouncy, he's much more aggressive than Joe Garner, and I think that's probably true.
Well, his run into the bowling crease in this innings, not so much in the first innings, but in this innings, has been much more purposeful, just a little quicker. Just seems to me that Viv might have said, OK, we've got plenty of runs to play with. Runs don't matter. Just go in there and give it everything and bowl fast. Try and bowl straight as well. That's 4, no third man. And no man in that exact spot in the infield either.
Well, this would have been a catch with another Manning, but preferring to have the cylinder off and short leg.
That's beautifully caught. That's a fine catch by the man there at slip, Roger Harper. Paul Downton has gone. That ball moved sharply off the seam and it went very, very quickly to Harper. And the high 10s are in operation out there.
Well, as I said before, cutting the ball back most of the time, but then just the occasional delivery going the other way. Not very much, but it doesn't need to do much if it's been cutting back off the seam. And that one just went a fraction away, and Downton had to play at it. It was a good length, skidded through. Very, very similar to Mike Gatting's dismissal, and there's not a lot you can do about that. It just goes out a couple of inches off the seam. You have to play, and that's the result. So there's not much you can do about that.
And 5 wickets in a test match innings for the 18th time for Malcolm Marshall now. And the 6th time against England. Catch to Roger Harper, the wicket to Malcolm Marshall. And the score, 87 for 7. Times 5 wickets in a test match innings, 3 wickets in a match. Philip de Freitas is the new batsman. He's joined John Embury. Harper again. De Freitas gone. Almost an action replay. The only difference was the batsman on this occasion. But Downton read de Freitas. 87 for 8.
Yes, probably not going quite as much off the seam as Downton's, but a very, very good line again, just outside that off stump. De Freitas probably having to play, and Roger Harper proving what a great all-round fielder he is. One of the best fielders in the world, anywhere in the outfield, at slip, or wherever you want to put him. But really tremendous bowling by Malcolm Marshall again. There's nothing much more you can say about this man. He's just a tremendous bowler.
Dilly coming out at 87 for 8.
See that de Freitas dismissal again. Round about off stump, just outside. Certainly had to play at it. Probably could have got a little bit farther across there. But when you've just come in the first delivery or two, it's not that easy.
The last ball of the over. For John Embury to face. Oh, that's well bowled. Did too much, I reckon.
John Embury trying to play Marshall off the back foot here. Marshall going back to moving the ball in. And that probably just did too much. Probably just missing the leg stump, but certainly very, very close and well worth a shout.
He's a very interesting bowler. He's an object lesson for all young bowlers, I reckon, that you don't have to be a giant. You can be a well-built fast bowler, and you don't have to run 1,000 yards. He only has a short run in, or relatively short. And he does just about all the right things there. That's a good example of the type of bowling action that would well serve a young cricketer on the way up. And that's out. An extra bounce. Embury trying to keep it down, but Logie has grabbed it. And now it is 93 for 9, and the clouds are still gathering here. It's becoming darker. The umpires are having a word now, and a replay of how Embury was dismissed.
Ambrose getting that right in the right place to Embury, following him just outside the leg stump, possibly, or leg stumpish, and Embury, who stands back and gives himself a bit of room, couldn't really get back and get away from that, and that tucked him up, and the result was a little catch there for Gus Logie at short leg. Both the umpires are looking at light meters now and having a discussion. It's certainly gone a little bit darker, but it's still about 5 past on the light meters they have built in here on the Wilson stand.
Last man is John Childs. Well, he probably didn't think a couple of weeks ago that he might be walking out here at Old Trafford with the task of delaying the West Indies on the last morning until the rain might fall to save England, with the total at 93 for 9. Comes in now to join Graham Dilley. And Dilley has strike because that was the last ball of the Ambrose over. And no need to worry about the light. Best bowling for Malcolm Marshall in all his time in Test match cricket. 15.4 overs, 5 maidens, 7 for 23. A brilliant performance from Marshall. Dilley the last man out. Childs wasn't required to play a stroke, either in anger or defence, and England all out for 93.
Yes, it's a pretty good delivery again. Pitching round about leg stump, hitting off-angled across just at the left-hander, but perfect length, and I think that was a very important wicket because there's no doubt about it. I don't think we'd have got one more over, and the light is so poor now that, and it's also just spotting of rain, that I think if they could just have run that over, they may well have got off, depending how heavy the rain is, as to whether they've got back on again. But there's certainly some pretty heavy showers about, but really West Indies have deserved to win that match, and tremendous piece of bowling by Malcolm Marshall.
His previous best figures were at Headingley against England, and here today he's bowled quite superbly on the last morning. 7 for 22, having started the morning with 2 for 10. Took 5 for 12. Brilliant effort. Indeed it was, and his best ever Test match figures here on this Old Trafford ground. A marvellous performance, but a desperately disappointing batting effort from England. 93, having started the day at 60 for 3. Just 2 double-figure scores there. 3 if you take extras into account, although that'll be a small comfort to the England batsmen and to England cricket supporters around the country. The bowling figures thoroughly dominated by Marshall, who bowled quite beautifully out there. Moved the ball a lot off the seam. And Ambrose, I thought, again bowled well today. They were the ones used. 15.4 overs, 5 maidens. 7 for 22, and 16 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 36. We might have seen the start of a great fast bowling combination out there today, with Curtly Ambrose really letting himself go from the Warwick Road end, but a super effort from Malcolm Marshall. That's the way it was. 612 runs scored in the match, and 27 wickets fell. 20 of them were English wickets. West Indies winning by an innings and 156 runs. Man of the match was Malcolm Marshall, named by Tom Graveney, a thoroughly worthy choice. It may not have been all that difficult a decision, but he is a fine cricketer. He made runs just when Viv Richards would have wanted them, and he got them reasonably quickly in what was a slow-scoring game. A great all-round cricketer, Malcolm Marshall, and, dare I say it, perhaps the best of him still to be seen, a terrific player.